What's up, everybody? I'm Nick.
And I'm Ian. Today we're reviewing Bros, and Gabe and Cam are going on the spot to review How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Let's take a look at the trailer for Bros.
Hey guys, it's Bobby Lieber coming to you from the future home of the LGBTQ+ museum. Everyone is really excited and totally getting along.
This happens to be Bisexual Awareness Week, and no one has acknowledged it.
Lesbian History Month was in March. Nobody said a goddamn thing.
Of course, lesbians get a month and we get a week.
So what's happening? Didn't you guys have an announcement?
This is a little unexpected, but we are in a throuple situation.
You're in a throuple? Let me tell you what's progressive now. Being alone.
I love my life, I love my freedom, I love my independence.
That's kind of sad.
That I don't want to be in a throuple? I don't even want to be in a couple.
Bobby, I had sex with that 65-year-old.
Jesus, he's ripped.
I know, it's like they injected steroids into Dumbledore. Oh my God, that's Aaron. He's very hot.
Gay guys are so stupid.
I know. But we've been smart enough to brand ourselves as being smart.
It's our little secret.
You met a guy?
I don't think I'm his type. He's like gay Tom Brady.
What are you into? One of these ripped idiots with no opinions?
No, I'd like someone who's physically very frail and won't stop talking.
And I bet he's as intimidated by you as you are by him.
I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, I can do whenever and I can do whatever.
Cool, whatever, whenever. GIF of Michael Scott dancing.
Office GIF? This person isn't gay.
I need you to be honest with me.
You like these rowy, meathead idiots. Oh, look, they're fighting. You like that? Hey. I can be tough like your boys. Oh, that's what you like, huh?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, that's cool.
How about it?
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride!
Now I have to go to a Pride party and you're both too old to be in the pool. Please leave.
People are threatening to boycott the museum.
You can't say Lincoln was gay.
If we don't do this, we're letting the heterosexual terrorists win.
There are trans terrorists too. Caitlyn Jenner.
You're so different from me. You're very intense.
I like to keep things chill. I can be chill.
Just like a manly man.
Sup? Sup?
I got you.
Yeah. You're gonna need some help here, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna need some help here, bro.
What is going on with you?
My whole life, I've prided myself on being self-reliant, but this guy has gone into my head.
Maybe you're both bottoms and that's the problem.
Bottom day.
Gay sex was more fun when straight people were uncomfortable with it.
Oh my God, do you guys remember straight people?
Yeah, they had a nice run.
Okay, so overall, I think this movie was like kind of a great rom-com, but it's not something I'm really itching to see again, you know?
Right, because I feel like a great rom-com doesn't really reach the height of great movies in general.
Yeah, so true.
It was such just a bog standard movie to me.
I think it was so like it was such a movie, and that's what we keep talking about. That's what we kept talking about off camera.
Yeah.
Like, man, we have to review this movie, but like it's not like a problem when like unlike Don't Worry, Darling, when it felt like a movie. This was like a good movie that felt like a movie.
Yes, it felt like a movie, but it felt like so much of a movie that it just kind of blends in for me, even seeing it yesterday.
Yeah, exactly, and it's gonna be something that like I think as soon as it hits streaming, it's gonna blow up.
Sure.
But for now, while it's in theaters, I don't think many people are seeing it. I mean, my theater had 3 people in it, including me.
Yeah.
So I don't think people are really like itching to see this. And plus, I didn't know this movie was coming out until I went to the theaters and saw Don't Worry, Darling.
Really?
Like I had never heard of this movie at all until I saw a trailer for it before other movies. So I think the marketing for this has been like kind of weird also. With like Billy, it's like mainly like guerrilla warfare on social media with Billy Eichner. But I guess this is like his baby, so I understand why he's so passionate about getting people out there to see it. But like, yeah, it's just been weird.
Oh, it being his baby is very clear throughout. You know, he wrote it, he stars in it. It's Billy Eichner playing
Billy Eichner.
Bobby Lieber.
Yeah.
The name is so very similar that it's just you can't help but feel like it's a self-insert movie for him.
It absolutely is. I think it really, and I'm not gonna say that like he doesn't do a great job. I think he does a very good job playing Billy Eichner in this movie, but he's not really acting, and I think he's actually using this movie for like really good. Like there are moments where it feels like it's me, Billy Eichner, and I'm preaching to you. But like, I think that's like a fine thing to be doing in a movie that you wrote and you're starring in and you produced. Like, if it's all yours, you may as well do whatever you want with it. And I think that's a really good thing.
In the vein of him doing whatever he wants with it, there were also some scenes, not even with him preaching, but just him talking. Where I was just like, okay.
The scene on the beach where he's like opening up to Aaron, I was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, like, this is where it's supposed to happen in this movie, but, like, I don't really buy it. Like, I think the passage of time was very strange in this movie also. Like, I think that I couldn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And especially when, like, them going to, what's the town called? Is it called P-Town?
P-Town.
Yeah. When they go to P-Town, I couldn't tell if it had been, like a week into their relationship or, like, 3 months relationship. But, like, it was just hard to understand, like, how like close they were and why he was opening up in that very moment. But
exactly, and you said that was where that was supposed to happen in the movie, and just the plot structure was like the most basic rom-com drag and drop.
Yeah.
It's got a thing where it's like, oh, they meet, they think that they don't want to have love, but then they meet each other and they're hesitant, but then if you've seen a rom-com, then you've seen Bros.
You've seen Bros.
It's just with a different coat of paint.
Yeah, and I think it's a fine coat of paint to put on the rom-com
formula. Sure. Yeah, of course.
And I think this movie is very important for like especially obviously the LGBTQ community, as it's like their first like big, it's like their big first movie where there's like the whole centralized thing is like it's LGBTQ people.
Yes.
The whole cast, I believe, is LGBTQ, and you can really, I mean, you can tell, especially like. I mean, we talked about this before, but like the scene where you go into the museum and it's like the board meetings, those scenes are so great. All those people are just having like such a blast at that table, and you can tell that like they actually like these would be the people who are opening this museum in real life.
It's interesting too, because I feel like those are probably the scenes that deviate the most from the rom-com formula.
I completely
and they're
agree.
the best.
I completely agree. If this was a com with some rom in it, I would have much preferred that, because like if we spent more time in the museum, I think they're like some of the funniest scenes is when they're all there. I love Jim Rash talking about oh my gosh, that guy's great. But like, and when he comes back and they're like we're cutting the Lincoln Papers, and he's like I'm on steroids, and he just starts breaking things. It's funny. And like when he like unloads his problems onto that woman, she's like,
yeah,
you can't be doing this. I'm withdrawing.
I'm not my
funding.
character.
Yeah. But yeah, there was like the main conflict was the museum, and I feel like they kind of just threw that in there because they like needed conflict, you know?
Yes.
It's like no movie can happen without conflict, and I think that's like true, but like there was conflict, and their whole relationship was just like strife.
Exactly.
So I don't think they needed like, and even they felt like they didn't need it, because they were like, man, we need money. Let's go to P-Town and get some rich investors. And then Aaron was like, give us $5 million, and they were like, okay. And then there was no more problems with funding for the rest of the movie. So I just think that like that was kind of strange and like unnecessary. I wish they just kind of picked one and stuck with it, you know?
Sure.
But those museum scenes definitely stood out to me.
Yeah, I think I do feel like they wanted to get that like boardroom with all of those like iconic faces in there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of probably how the museum scene came to life, which it is kind of like a half-hearted plot. But speaking of throwing things in there, I feel like there were a lot of things to make this feel like a movie from 2022. Like, what's his name? Bobby. That's the main character's name.
Yeah.
Bobby is a podcast host,
Yeah.
and that is talked about in the first scene.
Yeah, he's like
nowhere
and
else.
He's podcasting on Facebook Live.
On
you can
Facebook
tell a millennial
Live.
wrote this movie.
Yes.
Nobody podcasts on Facebook Live showing their face. That's not really.
No.
I mean, there are some podcasts where like it's like also video format, but like I don't know. When I think podcast, I think audio. So
exactly.
It was just kind of a weird thing in my opinion. And it's not really brought up that much. Like at like the first like 10 minutes, it's like he's a podcaster, but it's never really brought up again. I was really hoping we'd like, I don't know, maybe like maybe the whole thing could have been told from his perspective in the future on the podcast. And,
Yeah.
And like his experience opening the museum and stuff. But like, I think that was just kind of a missed opportunity. And I don't understand what makes Billy Eichner the most important person on like the council of the museum.
He was
like I understand he's the main character and he has like this huge podcast. Like I think the Facebook Live had like 100,000 viewers, which is crazy. I don't think there's ever been that many people on a Facebook live stream before. So yeah, and we can talk about more things like that after this commercial break.
Hey, welcome back from that great commercial to the review crew talking about things that matter. Speaking of things that matter, Ian, what did you think of the editing and the technical work in this movie?
I don't know. It was nothing special.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just plays into the whole it was a movie thing.
Yeah.
Like if this was like the most standard rom-com, just shot absolutely beautifully, I think it would just be elevated. But like I mean, as our lovely producer Gabe said, it was a movie. It was a sequence of events, and there was a camera there. It wasn't a movie, you know.
No. It makes you think that there was like no storyboard for the movie. You know, it was just
absolutely.
shot, reverse shot, shot, reverse shot, and a lot of the editing for me, it's not typical that I notice something like that in a movie. It has to be like a weird. It was particularly weird to take me out of it, where there was one scene in the beginning. He's accepting an award, I think, and they're phasing between something from ancient Egypt, like ancient Egyptian pictures, and just the way it was cutting was really weird. And conversations. There was one at a dinner table. They were sitting around the table with Aaron and his family, and they were in a crowded restaurant, and there was just no noise. As soon as I noticed that, it took me right out.
Yeah.
So, what?
It's those small things that like really bring you completely out of a movie.
Right.
And also, especially because that movie had like, that restaurant had like singing people in it.
Yes.
Like they only came back at the very end of that scene for like a joke.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but like, where were you guys the rest of this scene?
A weird joke, and like.
Yeah. It was a very poorly timed joke too, especially because like, I don't know. I think Billy Eichner's like rage in that moment was very justified.
Sure.
And it was like a good breakup. But like, and I think like Aaron be like, hey, could you turn it down a bit, bro?
Yeah.
And he's like he like blows up at dinner. I think that's a good moment.
Yeah.
For Billy Eichner, but I just don't like. And then they just like kind of kick it in the face with that joke. I don't know. It just like it doesn't sit right.
Yeah, it deflates it a little bit.
Yeah.
So going on with the com and the rom-com, that joke was a little weird. What did you think just generally with the humor?
I think the humor mainly landed in like again the museum scenes.
Yeah.
Those were so funny.
Sure.
The Leonardo da Vinci animatronic at the very end, great joke. And you know, there's I don't know. I think the writing in this is very strange. It's very by the books rom-com, but then there will just be something just like that alludes to something a little bit more like that when Aaron is in the museum and he's looking at all the famous people from LGBTQ history and he like sees his name and he's like did nothing, hates his job, hates his life, and it's like that's never explored, you know. I think we could have explored his character along with Billy Eichner's character, but all we get is Billy Eichner whining about how he's not like ripped.
Yeah, and with that, I don't know. It felt like it was trying to be subversive, like a subversive rom-com, and it was with the LGBTQ representation and everything. But at the end of the day,
it's just a rom-com.
The subversion was really just a coat of paint. It was, it was surface level more so subversion.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was the same structure and everything.
Yeah, every once in a while they try to take you somewhere, but then the movie forgets that it says that. When they're in P-Town and Billy Eichner opens the door on Aaron, who's using testosterone, and he's like, why are you doing that? And Aaron's just like, oh well, you like that I'm ripped, and it's just never mentioned again, which is just like so horrible. And I think that like when you go to like the clubbing scenes and it's like at these like huge like the app launch and it's like all these like gay guys and it's all just like absolutely shredded men. I don't know. It's just like not. It's very progressive for Hollywood, but like it's not like so absurdly progressive like it's being marketed as. Like this is like the end all. They're saying like this is the end all be all LGBTQ film, but like what about like everybody else?
Yeah.
I think like the board scenes are casted very diversely.
Sure.
We have we have people of color and we have transgender actors.
Yes.
And I think that's super great. But then you go to like the clubs and stuff and it's just all like ripped white guys and I don't know, it's just like not it's representation. But it doesn't. It stops. It stops at Billy Eichner. It's Billy Eichner's representation of himself.
Yes.
He's like, now there's a movie for me. But what about everybody else?
I'll tell you the scene that really took me out, and with realizing that all of the guys were just besides Billy Eichner were just shredded, was that scene with that character Steve.
Yeah.
And that I thought that was a really funny scene. And I don't know how much of it I should describe.
Not much.
But he's supposed to be this loser kind of character. No one wants to hang out with him or do anything with him.
Yeah.
But he is shredded at the same time. He's not like Aaron. He's not built, but he's got a six-pack.
Yeah.
He's got good arms.
He's still like he's still an attractive guy. And I think I don't know. It's just like and even like the big parties, like I think in the big parties, like at the Christmas party, same problem. I just don't think it's like, I don't think it's just like, it doesn't commit all the way to representation.
Right.
It's like, it just, I don't know, it just kind of like stops, right? When it starts to like really get in there.
Right.
It just is like, okay, we have white guys who are gay, and we're done.
I will say, I do think it doesn't go as far as it could with the representation. I think the board scenes of the museum are great with those, but I do think this is kind of starting to be a good foot in the door.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because as we were sitting down to see this movie, there was this trailer that was playing for this movie. I think it was called Spoiler Alert with Jim Parsons.
Oh yeah.
He's like a Smurf fanatic who is also gay.
Yeah, that looks like a pretty cute movie too. I think that'll be also another generic by the books rom-com, but with a Smurf guy.
It could.
But I think it could just like bring us in a little bit more, and I think that's what I think that's just what they're gonna have to do until we can get all the way with actual great representation.
Right, and maybe even the fact that so much LGBTQ media I feel like has been subversive, has been nominated for like Oscars and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like in a weird way having a movie that is so by the books is in its own weird roundabout way a good sense of representation because it is so mainstream, so just for mass audiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and as we said earlier, this movie's kind of flopping in theaters.
Yeah.
But it's not for like your typical theater-going audience, especially post-pandemic. We're not really getting those people who are going to see movies hardcore anymore.
Yeah.
It's more this is more for like the cute date night or like just like throw this on in the background while you're doing stuff. It's a perfect streaming movie.
Exactly, man. And it's also perfect for the review crew, for us reviewing it here. So, Ian, what'd you think of Bros? Give it to me 1 out of 10.
I am going to have to give Bros a 6 out of 10. Solid by the books rom-com with a lot of with some problems and with some plot lines that go nowhere. But, I enjoyed my time. I had a few laughs alone in the theater. But, yeah, 6 out of 10. What about you?
I am going to have to match you on that. I think it is a 6 out of 10 movie. I think it is so bog standard. But I think it also opens the door, for more, I saw the trailer for the Jim Parsons movie going in, and maybe a couple years down the line we'll see more LGBTQ representation in rom-coms that are actually pushing the medium. But yeah, I think this movie's got its problems, it's pretty standard, but overall it's cute and it's fine,
Yeah, and we will be right back after this break.
And now let's take it to our two best bros on the spot, Gabe and Cam, who are reviewing How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Gabe. And this week we're reviewing How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Let's watch the trailer.
Hi, Andy Anderson from Composure Magazine. Our resident how-to girl. I want to write about things that matter.
What are you working on now?
How to lose a guy in 10 days. I could start by dating a guy and then drive him away. Doing everything girls do wrong in relationships.
I can sell myself to any woman.
I'd like to see you prove that.
You would?
Make a woman fall in love with you.
You're on. So who's the lucky girl?
Her.
Her who?
Her in the gray dress.
Hi, I'm Benjamin Barry.
Andy Anderson.
Oh, you are already falling in love with me.
I'm gonna make you wish you were dead. Hi!
Hey there.
Gang's all here! And other girls dream that they'd be Ben's partner. They'd be Ben's partner.
No.
I used Photoshop to composite our faces together. Oh, that's our wedding. You're the kids in Switzerland. You're loodling.
Our kids are really attractive. So it's like a dog, right?
We're still on for poker at your house this weekend.
Ooh, boys' night. You giving him a boys' night? Think of it. I have to crack this guy. I mean, this is DEFCON 5. Blow. Nobody likes a Mr. Sniffles. Come on, step in.
It's over, man.
No.
My boyfriend thinks I'm fat. I can't eat in front of you.
I don't think she's fat.
You outside!
Oh my God.
And after all this, he still didn't leave you?
Okay, he's just a little tougher than I thought.
Where's the sexy, cool, fun, smart, beautiful Andy that I knew?
He loves you.
Can I see you tomorrow?
This February,
Delivery, Andy. Oh my God.
a simple assignment that was supposed to last 10 days
Oh, he's really cute.
is turning into something
Lana, I can't write this article.
that could last a lifetime.
I can't write it because it's just... I've gotten to know this guy.
You're beautiful.
You'll write the article. I want copy on my desk in 48 hours.
Where's Andy Anderson?
She's not here.
Paramount Pictures presents
Andy!
Kate Hudson,
The woman is driving me crazy.
Matthew McConaughey,
Say, it's good to talk to you, though, man.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
True or false? All's fair in love and more.
True.
Great answer.
All right, so Cam, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. You and I are not exactly, well, let me rephrase. You are not the kind of guy who's watching rom-coms on a Thursday night. Me, I am. I'm eating my ice cream in bed watching a rom-com. That's what I was doing last night. What happens in the Sheraton stays in the Sheraton.
Well, the ice cream part happens. I just don't watch the rom-com.
Okay, that's fair. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is my favorite rom-com. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a pretty basic rom-com, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't really say it's my favorite. I've never heard anyone say it is their favorite, so, yeah, that was a pretty basic movie.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is a certified big fudge favorite, and that is not a title given to many films. So now, here's my question for you. This movie hinges on the chemistry between Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey.
Yes.
What do you think of their respective performances? How do you think they do, and how do you think they work with each other?
I think they work pretty well together. Like, again, that's the thing that could definitely sink a rom-com is, like, no chemistry
chemistry,
between the
yeah,
two people. And
100%.
they definitely did have chemistry, so I'll give them that. They're no Sandler and Barrymore.
Hey, 50 First Dates is a wonderful flick, okay? But
Wedding Singer and Blended. 3 great movies.
I'm not going to say that for Blended, but I'll agree with you for the first 2.
Blended's incredible.
Now, I think McConaughey is just killer in this. McConaughey, for a while, he was the rom-com king.
Yep.
He did Fool's Gold. He did The Wedding Singer.
Not Wedding Planner.
Wedding Planner, thank you, yes.
He's no Sandler.
He's no Sandler. And so they just knock it out of the park every time they're together. They actually reunited for Fool's Gold, which is a much worse movie. Kate Hudson, this isn't my favorite Kate Hudson film, not that I have one, but it definitely wouldn't be this. I don't think she's bad. Her character is really, really grating and annoying throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what
part
she's
of it
supposed to
is say part of it for the plot, but part of it is because like she's being just genuinely cruel to this guy and like relishing in it, and so she kind of comes off as unlikable, at least in my opinion.
I agree.
But I'm also just rooting for my boy McConaughey. Like I'm always on team Matthew McConaughey.
Okay.
So, this plot, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, it's a confusing title. Do you want to kind of recap the plot for the people so they know what we're getting into?
Okay, so basically, this Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson.
So,
Andy McDowell.
Yeah, her friend, I forgot her friend's name, but it's Catherine Hahn, I'm
Yep.
pretty sure. She gets dumped by her man, and
Mhm.
she's always like, oh, why can't I keep a man? So Kate Hudson, Andy, is like, it's because you're annoying. It's like,
Yeah.
you're too clingy, you take things too fast. And so she's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, I wrote this article called How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and I'm going to show you, because I'm going to show you why your stuff isn't working, and I'm going to find a guy and have him break up with me in 10 days. And then Matthew McConaughey's on the other side, and he wants to be working for advertising at a diamond company. So he makes a bet that he can make any girl fall in love with him in 10 days.
Yep.
So, as you can see, 2 very opposite situations. Let's see how they
Go at the end. Yeah, and so this is this movie. It does a really good job of having a very simple plot, but its beats do a really excellent job. There's I would say like a 20-minute segment where we get them to actually fall in love. They go to visit McConaughey's family in Staten Island, and she drops her attempt to make him hate her. And it's actually really charming. They play a card game that my family plays a lot, and so like that part gives me the warm fuzzies. I can't say the name of the card game just because we have language censors, but it's just such a delightful segment to this film. Now, speaking of segments to this film, there's a rule in the rom-com business, which I'm obviously part of as a rom-com fan.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't matter how much you build it up if you don't deliver what I want at the end. You know, you've got the kiss in the rain in The Notebook. You know, you've got the ending in P.S. I Love You.
Yep.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It's got an ending that I think is quite beautiful. Where Andy is going to leave to Washington, D.C.
Breaks my heart.
And Barry, who's played by Matthew McConaughey, races around a crowded traffic jam. They've been setting up throughout the entire movie by him telling her that a bike is nice because there's no traffic.
Yeah.
And he's racing through, I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge. You would know as the resident, as the East Coaster.
Yeah.
If there was a Midwest rom-com, I could be helping us here.
Yeah. It's a real shame.
It really is a shame. And so there's this beautiful moment where they're weaving through cars and he chases her down. And it's so beautiful because there's the ending of him saying, like, he tells the taxi driver, he's like, take her bags back home.
Bro, those taxi drivers aren't paid enough.
No, those taxi drivers are not paid enough. That's not part of the review, but I completely agree with you.
I'm not taking her stuff.
No, exactly. Me either. I'm keeping her stuff. It delivers exactly what I wanted to, and I think it's because of that beautiful ending, beautiful way the story is set up, and also there's so many good surrounding characters. You talked about Catherine Hahn, who plays this like thoroughly broken woman who is a clingy whore, like she's just not somebody you want to be a partner with, and she's like one of the reasons this story gets going. We've got Matthew McConaughey's friends who are played by I don't remember their names.
Adam Goldberg.
Yep, Adam Goldberg is one of them, and then one of them is like a big bit actor who plays a guy named Thayer. I feel bad because I can't remember his name, but he's actually really funny in it. And so this movie does, in my opinion, a really great job of moving the story forward through humor. Are there obviously some issues? Sure. There are parts where the movie drags
a lot,
way too much. Andy becomes relatively grating towards the end.
Yeah.
And my biggest issue with this movie is unfortunately that our big breakup, essentially, is them drunkenly singing You're So Vain by Carly Simon.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. I know what they were going for, like they both like set their careers up in flames. It just comes off as weird and uncomfortable.
I thought it was trash.
It for sure is a bad breakup, but time to break up our review and give our ratings. On a scale from 1 to 10, what are you going to give How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
Well, first, that was a real knee slapper, but...
Thank you.
I'd give it, like, 6.5.
Okay, yeah.
Again, I thought it was a pretty mid rom-com. Like, average.
Yeah.
I'm not really going to remember it in any way. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, that movie was so great, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to remember this movie forever because it was so bad. It was just like, it's an average rom-com.
Yeah,
you see, like, hundreds of them.
That's totally fair. Just because something is a Big Fudge favorite does not mean that it's a good movie. For example, another Big Fudge favorite is The Expendables 2.
Okay, enough of the Big Fudge stuff. Give your
But
rating.
I'm going to say this is a 7 out of 10. Okay. It makes me happy. I get the warm fuzzies. I would love to watch it, like, you know, like on a date one day. But, like, when I watch it by myself in my living room on a Thursday night, I don't feel great about myself. Okay. So that's just me. Let's head back to the studio.
Thanks for that, guys. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back to Review Crew.
On today's episode, we're going to review Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Here's a trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Let's talk about this movie now.
Let's talk about it.
I liked it a lot.
I love Kick-Ass.
There are parts of me that want to just go through frame by frame and see every single multiverse when they'd have those
Yeah,
flashes.
the big flashes. Me too.
Talented, funny, handsome. Tim,
come on.
You got it all, buddy. You're like my own person.
Look who's talking. Come on.
See you next week.
That's all for this week. If you want to follow more Review Crew content, go to the Review Crew Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, as well as Orange TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and YouTube. Find the Review Q's podcast on Spotify or on our website at orangetvnetwork.syr.edu, where you can also find our blog and more OTN information. Check out this week's screening hosted by University Union, Top Gun Maverick. We'll see you next week.